guys, this is Greg coming at you for Kingston Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be doing a card review, the first in what I hope to be a series. And I'm going to be doing it on this here, Exploder Dragonwing. Well, you've probably guessed that by the title anyway, but that's not the point. Now, I know a lot of people will do card reviews where it's like, oh, this is my opinion on the card, this is bad, or it's good because blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try doing something a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the information out there for you. You can make the judgment for yourself, because I really don't believe in forcing people one way or the other. Specifically, I'm going to be comparing it to two separate cards. I'm going to compare it to Ally of Justice Catastor, because that has a similar effect. And I'm going to compare it to Black Rose Dragon, because the two of them can be made for similar materials. Now, for those of you who are not really aware of this card, and I can't blame you because it didn't do much, Exploder Dragonwing is a level 7 Dragon Synchro, 2400 attack, 1600 defense. If it battles with an opponent's monster that has equal or less attack, you can destroy the monster it's battling with and deal damage to your opponent equal to its attack before damage without damage calculation. Technically at the start of the damage step. And that's why I say that it's a very similar effect to Catastor, because if he battles with a non-dark monster, he'll automatically destroy it. And in a similar way, if it fails to destroy the monster, it will continue on to damage calculation. But I specifically looked up the rulings on this guy, and as it turns out, the two effects of destruction and burn are treated as happening simultaneously. So even if it fails to destroy the monster outright, your opponent will still take the damage. Why is that important? Well, you will have monsters like this here, like Wind-Up Zen Mines. So you could have, say, the Catastor and the Exploder Dragonwing out, and let's say either one of them attacks the Wind-Up Zen Mines. So you're going to do that, and then Zen Mines, in order to escape destruction by the effect, is going to have to detach a material. Then damage calculation will occur, and the monster is still bigger, so it'll have to detach the second one. That'll still happen with Exploder Dragonwing. The difference is your opponent will also take 1500 damage in that instance. So why is that important? Because we're in a format where killing their life points are everything. And where it gets different is this guy right here. Maestroke, the Symphonic Djinn, which ever since it helped win a YCS, everybody's been maining this thing. And I can kind of see why. It's a really good card. But this is where the difference between these two really comes in. Because Maestroke is a dark monster, Catastor won't be able to destroy the thing. And in fact, if you attack, all you're going to do is deal 100 damage to yourself because it's bigger. But Exploder Dragonwing here, he'll attack it, deal your opponent 1800 damage, Maestroke will be forced to defend itself, and then because he's still bigger, he'll be forced to detach another material to save itself, so in essence it's got nothing left, and you've hit your opponent for 1800, breaking through the defense. So yeah, that's pretty good. Now, Catastor does get an edge though. This guy right here, let's face it, everybody's running Utopia, because Konami's intent on shoving it down our throats. Now, if Catastor attacks Utopia, then Utopia is able to just detach a material right at attack declaration. It will never reach the point where Catastor's effect goes off. If Exploder Dragonwing were to attack, the opponent would just let it through, because obviously Utopia is stronger, so it would not be destroyed by that. But if you manage to pump him up with anything at all that would get him over 2500, then it's the same thing. So both of them can also be made for one card. So let's say an example of that, Catastor, you summon a Junk Synchron, you bring back a Raikou or whatever, and you can make a Catastor for one card. Exploder Dragonwing requires Dragon-type non-tuners. Well, isn't that incredibly limiting, you ask? Not really. You have Debris Dragon right here, who can bring back a monster with 500 or less attack from your graveyard. But there aren't a lot of good dragons that are 500 attack or less, right? Well, there weren't. But then elemental dragons became a thing. And that is the reason I am doing this review, is because one of the small dragons, Lightning, is 500 attack and level 3. He was designed for abuse by Debris Dragon. Let that sink in for a moment. So with Debris Dragon, you could bring back a Lightning and then make an Exploder Dragonwing for one card. So in terms of the ability to make them, they're pretty much a toss-up. Obviously, Catastor is going to be better in like 99% of decks, because he's generic and because he can be made with like an Effect Veiler in any level 4 monster. Exploder Dragonwing requires a little bit more work to do him, and his effect is different in the parameters that it works. If you can make him, you're going to let a lot of mileage out of him. Now the other comparison I wanted to do, Black Rose Dragon. The reason being, they're both Dragon-type Synchro monsters. They're both level 7. They both have 2,400 attack points. Both of them can be made by Debris Dragon, obviously. And the difference, now Black Rose, everybody knows Black Rose. It's a staple. Rarely, if ever, does the plant effect come in anymore. Usually it's going to be summoned for the blow up everything on the field effect. Now, if your opponent has their one solemn warning that we're allowed in the format, thanks for that, Konami, then, you know, if you're out Exploder Dragonwing, that kind of sucks. If you're out Black Rose, that sucks. But it's a wash either way. You couldn't have used the effect. If your opponent bottomlesses, Black Rose can still go off. So you'd still blow up everything. Exploder Dragonwing would lose the chance to use his effect. So Black Rose wins that one. Now, Black Rose Dragon can be hit by Starlight Road. And I can't tell you how many times I've hit a Black Rose Dragon with a Starlight Road. This destroys only one thing. He can't be. And personally, in my experience, I find that Black Rose Dragon, people are going to bottomless that before they bottomless this, because they're like, oh, I can deal with that. Because he also falls victim, obviously, to like Deep Prison and Mirror Force and all that. But I would rather have him be baiting out those cards in Elemental Dragons than something else, because if he does go to the grave by Mirror Force, it's like, oh, I can still banish him to summon, so I'm not really out anything at all. Now again, Elemental Dragons, probably the only deck that could make this guy. But you may be wondering at this point, well, why would they? I mean, why do you expect them to even be running Debris Dragon in the first place? Well, because of Starform Dragon. And I'm going to talk about that a bit later. But Starform Dragon, level 11, 7+4. Hey look! Level 4 tuner, who can be searched by Tempest. He can be searched manually with the Pitch 2 effect, or he can be searched by banishing it. So Debris Dragon, yeah, you can fetch him to your hand relatively easily. And Starform Dragon, you know, you'd make that if you were going to make a beater. So why would you not, especially when you're already running Lightning, tech one of this in your extra deck. It's now a level 7 Synchro that you can easily make with Debris Dragon. You can overlay it with another level 7 to make Drago Sack, or Big Eye, or any of the other features. Yes, using Debris Dragon removes the ability for you to summon Light and Darkness Dragon that turn. I know. I'm just saying you have the option to do that. Because if your opponent already has a Maestroke out, Light and Darkness Dragon can't do anything because his effect doesn't activate. This guy can get rid of both materials in one shot and still deal your opponent some damage. Now granted, Zen Mines will easily get rid of this thing if you're not able to kill him at the end phase. But if you're doing a twofer, odds are you'll have a second Elemental Dragon to finish blowing him away. Yes, I just threw my own cards across the room. Deal with it. So that's the thing on Exploder Dragonwing, is he basically exists to get walls out of the way. And that's basically what I'd tell you to have him for. Yes, you can use him as Xyz material. He's much better for getting rid of problem defenders. Or for, you know, baiting things out, even if you want to go that way. Or if you're, I don't know, let's say you've maybe teched a Chaos monster. Notice he's Dark Attribute. And I realize, yeah, that might be a bit hard to see because mine's an ultimate rare. And I'm zoomed in pretty much as far as it'll go, so I can't really zoom in and show you. But yeah, wait, I'm stupid. I'll just pick up the card. Because my camera can't focus worth anything. Yeah, you can kind of see he's dark. And so yeah, these two side by side. He's better, or she's better if you want to blow up the field. He's better if you've got a problem monster that you need to get rid of in one go, and maybe deal your opponent some damage for game. Ever since the realization that, hey, Gaga Cowboy wins games. Well, if 800 can win a game, then half of any number that's less than 2400 can probably win a game, unless that number is 800. Not half of anything, it's literally anything other than 2400. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But yeah, the basic reason I wanted to do this being, you know, Elemental Dragons are out there. And I know that we're probably not going to get the little ones in the TCG for a long time. But, let's face it, who waits for the TCG anymore? Between Dueling Network and Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, everybody is playing cards from the OCG from the moment they're announced. So, I figured by putting this card out there, and by showing you the option that, hey, it can be used to tear through a wall, it can be used to help get that extra level 7 if you absolutely need it. He's worth testing out. He's obviously not the best card ever. I personally wish, he clocked in a little bit more attack. But the fact that he can take away both pieces of a wall monster like Maestro and still get the damage in, and that's the main reason why I would recommend him situationally over Catastor, is the fact that he can still get damage in. If you stuck, like, a piercing effect on him, it would just be like, attack over Maestro, deal you burn damage, then deal you piercing. It would be hilarious. Odds of that happening? Nil. But, the option is out there. So anyway, this has been the sort of information session for Exploder Dragonwing. Would I recommend him? That sort of depends on your playstyle. If I end up playing Elemental Dragons, I'm definitely going to take a copy of him in, just because, the version I play, I would play Starform Dragon, so I'm already going to have a Debris. What's one extra deck slot to give to this guy? Not a whole lot. I can get him with Lightning, and with Judgment of the Light and Synchros getting a little bit of more life breathed into them, the option is out there. So I personally am going to try running him. You don't have to, and if you don't want to, I can understand that, but the option exists. It's a reasonable enough card, and I'll just leave it at that. This has been Greg for Kingston Yu-Gi-Oh! Saying, don't forget to like, comment, if you have any comments, subscribe, and peace out.